So, one is I'd want the commitment that the 5 minutes stays for a long period of time. And I think it's much better than just diving and doing a deep dive over a weekend and then bailing on it completely. And if you choose your 5 minutes in your day, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, if you've got a quiet corner, great. In that quiet corner, can you either keep a few books or play something which is by a good teacher? So, books, there are multiple recommendations, like I mentioned, Beyond Religion or How to See Yourself as You Really Are. There's also a beautiful book by Mingyur Rinpoche called The Joy of Living. And it really combines both neuroscience as well as meditation. There's a fabulous book by Zongsa Khyentse Rinpoche, which is called What Makes You Not a Buddhist. So I feel being able to engage with books or teachers becomes a helpful space, even if it's 5 minutes. So literally, it could be you reading a few lines to a few pages, depending on your speed of reading. But when you read a certain amount, can you stop? Can you contemplate? Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? And it's completely okay to say it doesn't make sense, in which case then one dives in deeper to say, why does it not make sense? Because that's the space where you're examining and comparing your reality with what is being shared. And I feel this is a critical step which we should not miss. And then once we're able to build that conviction, yeah, that this kind of makes sense, once you reach a space of it making sense to you, then how do you bring that into your life? And you could bring it in a whole host of ways. So let's say you're a very religious person, you bring it in into your prayers that you offer. Let's say you're somebody who doesn't believe in praying but believes in benefiting others. It could be generosity of just time or money or material or whatever else. It could just be about saying, I'm going to become more attentive in my relationships. But whatever it is that we listen, so the old Nalanda tradition speaks about three steps of study, contemplation, and action. So can we continuously bring this into our life? So even if it's 5 minutes and you read, let's say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you read a certain chunk and you're like, on Thursday, you're like, today's 5 minutes, I'm just going to summarize this for me. And then Friday and Saturday, I'm going to really struggle to see how this makes sense to me. And once that happens on Sunday, say, okay, I'm going to bring it into my practice, bring it into my daily life, right? So it's almost like learning a word a day, where you're then trying to bring it into your vocabulary, where you slowly start moving in a little bit deeper. Because initially, also, I feel when I read some of these books, it's like the understanding I had the first time, and then the understanding I had the second time, and the third time. Each time it's been different. I mean, maybe my brain is a little slower, but this repeated reading also just helps with clarifying some of the concepts, missing out certain key lines that you perhaps didn't pay enough attention to the first time. Because I feel also where we are is what the book, when you read a book, it's also so much dependent on where your mind is in that moment, right? Because again, even though it's a reading, it's an activity like reading, the self is so visible and so present in what you take back from it. So it could be a reread. And some of these are also lovely audiobooks. So for those who are not in the habit of reading, because I also understand that everyone's reading capacity has dipped significantly. So in which case, it could be an audiobook, it could be something that you listen to for 5 minutes and then hit pause. But when you come back the next day, just making sure you're able to revisit some of what you heard the earlier day. So it's not just a passive space; it's an active space. So 5 minutes a day is lovely to begin with.